Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Scott Jackson here, and I'm coming at you with another drum lesson. And I tell you what, over the last couple weeks, man, we've been doing a lot here at Drummers I Like, and I wanted everyone to know that we appreciate all of our listeners, all of our contacts. Man, you guys need to reach out to us more, man. Hit us up if there's anything we can help you with. Send us a question. Hit us up in our DM on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of those platforms. Hit us up on YouTube. We have emails. Go to our website, send us an email because we are here to help you. The Drummers I Like podcast is meant to help you, our listeners, drummers, other musicians who are just trying to get not only their playing together, but their business together. So y'all need to hit us up because we're here to help you. This week, what I want to talk about is something really, really, really important. And I can't stress this enough. Last week we were talking about positivity, okay? Dominating our minds with positivity and making sure that we always think positive. Now, at first, that's going to be really tricky for you to do because it is for me. It's sometimes something bad happens, man, and you're like, you instantly think negative, but you can't do that. What you need to do is just keep looking forward. Keep looking forward. Don't stop. Persist. Always persist and just keep going. Today, the topic we're going to talk about is self-awareness, how to develop self-awareness. Now, sure, this topic can be broad and you can put it everywhere in your career, but I am going to keep it specific to playing drums. Now, here are the 5 steps that I was doing some research on, because I got to do some research, right? I can't just sit back and be like, what am I going to talk about? I got to do some research for you fellas out there. Okay, so the first step of self-awareness is confusion. Everything is brand new. You're like, man, what the heck is going on right now? The second step is differentiation. So what you're doing is you're starting to notice that there's differences between yourself and the objects around you. And then there's identification. You can now recognize yourself in the relationships you have with those other people or those objects or the animals, like whatever it is. You start to be able to say, this is me, this is what I do with this is how I act, all of that stuff. And then you have permanence. You realize that you can, your image, your likeness, your personality has permanence on this world. It can change. I'll preface it with, I'll say that. It can change. But you realize that if I take a picture, I'm there. If I look in a mirror, I'm there. You start to recognize that you are capable of being on this planet. And then the 5th step, this isn't really what it's called, but this is my Dragon Ball Super shout out to anybody who watches that show. Such a cool show. This is Ultra Instinct, right? Actually, that's like a 6th step. But the 5th step would be mastery, really. And the bonus step is Ultra Instinct. Mastery, and this is why I'm going to say mastery. Mastery means like you're able to sit down, especially with drums. I'm able to sit down and play with another bass player. And I can be aware of not only what I'm doing, I can be aware of what he's doing, and this is the key. And I can predict and maybe even control what he's doing. Or I can predict what he's going to do, add to the conversation, and maybe make the conversation go another way instead of it being all of what he is saying the whole time. And you get into this kind of stuff when you have conversations here. Like right now, I'm talking to you. Boom, right there in the camera, right? But you're listening to me. So the whole time it's a one-way conversation. There's no input from you. You might have some little interjections while you're watching this or while you're listening to this. But there's no input from you. You were listening to me the whole time. But if you were to sit down and have a conversation with me, that's not how it would go. I'd be like, hey man, let's say I'm talking to Rich, right? Rich, Rich Ducat, the owner of the Drummers I Like podcast, Rich. The dude, Rich. Anyways, let's say I'm talking to Rich and I go, "Hey, Rich, what's up?" If I ask him that question, "Hey, Rich, what's up?" I'm not going to be like, "Man, my day was great." Following that, that's just going to be ridiculous. And you have to approach music like this too, which we'll get into in a little bit. The sixth step is ultra instinct, where not only are you aware, and this is a great concept from Dragon Ball Super, by the way. Not only are you aware of your surroundings, but you can also react in a very intelligent way without even knowing. And now the key is you react in a very intelligent way without even knowing. That's why it's called instinct. You're able to make a judgment, bang, like that, super quick, and that judgment is also a correct course of action. You move forward, not backwards. Maybe you do move backwards, but most of the time you're going to move forwards. That's the point of this. So over the next couple weeks, what I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be breaking down these stages. I love talking about stuff like this, especially when you can wrap it into the music world, because all of this stuff, there's that, what's that saying? Music is life and life is music. It's so intertwined. It's ridiculous, man. Like if I'm at a jazz gig and I'm playing a bunch of chops the whole time, and two, maybe I'm playing super loud, I'm pretty sure the other musicians in the group are going to be like, "Man, this guy is just screaming at me the whole time. What the heck? How am I supposed to work with this dude? How am I supposed to play music with this guy? How do I have a musical conversation with this guy with him being so loud and playing so busy the whole time?" There's moments, if I'm on a jazz gig, man, I'll just stop. I'll stop talking. I'll pull a Tony Williams and I'll hit a downbeat or something and just not play for a couple bars. Or I won't even play for a whole chorus. I'll let the other musicians have their space and create the conversation, and then I'll come back in. And how I come back in is another thing we can get into. Do you come back in like a blazing bullet, or do you come back in nice and soft and you help build this enormous amount of tension and help the soloist have a better story? The key thing to get from this is that there's 5 main stages. The sixth one is pretty difficult to get to, and if it's even achievable, right? Because even in the cartoon show, people are like, "Man, is that even achievable?" But anyways, that's besides the point. The key thing is that there's 5 steps, and by the 5th step, you should be able to realize that I am capable of doing things, and I'm also aware of the situation I'm in, the other musicians that are playing with me, and I am able to predict what they're going to do. I'm able to control what they're going to do, and we can have a really, really powerful musical conversation based off that. Now, again, I'm just going to recap. The first step was confusion. Everything, and I mean everything, is brand new. It's like, bang, a whole new world, right? Even though I'm a horrible singer, that's a perfect instance for what it's like taking on a new musical instrument, or maybe a new concept. Maybe you're getting into producing music, whatever it might be. There's so much confusion. You're brand new, you're learning everything. Differentiation is you're starting to understand the differences and the similarities between the other items and other musicians that you're using. And then identify is you're able to recognize your role and your relationship between those other musicians. 4 is permanence, is that you realize you're able to really create a foundation within your own playing that seriously helps you for the long run. Now, this can be like detail orientation, other things, making sure your strokes are articulate, also working on like those nasty buzz strokes or the multi-bounce strokes, however you want to think of them. If you listen to samba music, they do that a lot. If you listen to Stanton Moore, man, he has some super sloppy stuff that he'll add in there, but the guy can play clean. So it's stuff like that. Like you're able to create a foundation, and you recognize that your role amongst other musicians is a very strong one. You know what I mean? I think earlier I was mentioning like that your image is permanence. Well, it's the same thing with music. What is your image with music? And it's not literally what is your image like, well, somewhat, how do you look when you play the drums? But it's also what are you playing on the drums, because that's your voice and that's going to be your permanence. Key to this is you also realize that it can change. And then the fifth step is mastery. Mastery, again, you're able to predict and control what happens. If you want to control, you might not want to control, but you're able to predict things and help steer what's happening within the band. And then finally, number 6, ultra instinct. You can just do anything at a moment's notice. You see a situation, you react, and it's the right thing to do. So this is the breakdown for self-awareness. We're going to get way more detailed with these 5, 6 steps. And I'm going to really detail how you can go through these different stages of self-awareness, figure out where you are in the process, and also how to get to the next step of self-awareness. Thank you again for listening. Make sure you check out Rich's podcast on Wednesdays. It's all about getting your business straight. That's what we're about here at Drummers I Like. I'm giving you the playing stuff. Rich is giving you the business advice, how to be productive. That's all that matters, really. Like if you got a solid foundation as a player and you can make all the business stuff come together, you can network, you can do all that. I'm telling you what, you will have the most success that you can possibly think of. Anything you can think of, if you have the processes to do it and you have the confidence to do it, you can go do it, period. And then don't forget about our show on Fridays. Okay, our show on Fridays, we bring on guests. Man, we got some serious guests coming. I know for sure we got a few guys that are like, ooh, he did what? I mean, we got some serious players coming on. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you watch and listen to all of our videos. Hit us up, ask us questions, man. We want to help you. And again, thank you for watching the Drummers I Like podcast, and I will see you next week. Take care.